President Joe Biden's administration is apparently, according to some, too white and too heterosexual, at least according to two Democrat senators, Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth and Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono. This comes as they previously said, or they threatened to do this. They threatened to only vote to approve only non-white or LGBTQ nominees until the Biden administration committed to expanding diversity. But we do have an update to that story because they've now taken that back after the administration agreed to add a senior Asian American and Pacific Islander as liaison, and they pledged to elevate diverse voices to the highest levels of government. But this doesn't really change the implication of their initial threat, does it, Andrew? Because a lot of folks, as soon as they did this, jumped on them and said, hey, wait a minute, this sounds pretty racist.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you're absolutely right, Heather. The great irony that I find in this is, if you think about it, critical race theory hurts Asian Americans more than any ethnic group in the United States, from an education standpoint, from a business owner standpoint. I mean, when you see what Harvard University is trying to do by limiting the amount of Asians that are coming to Harvard, when you talk about the New York City school systems and the fact that they're trying to take away entrance exams. So I find it very ironic now that we're talking about meritocracy in Joe Biden's cabinet, yet them taking away any types of merit exams probably going to hurt Asian Americans more than any group in the United States.
Yeah, Rob, you know, one of the initial responses that people were sending out that was on that, say, you know, how can you hire people based on race or being a racial minority versus based on, you know, their experience or their merits for the job?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, you know, race, gender, sexual orientation, all of this stuff, these are immutable characteristics, not necessarily job qualifications. And look, Tammy Duckworth is a veteran, so she should know that the only colors that really matter should be red, white, and blue. But even furthermore, when you look at exactly what the conversation has had on the left right now, they have done a very good job at slicing and dicing people based on these immutable characteristics into smaller and smaller and smaller groups. And so that means that these groups are going to be infighting for another piece of the pie. So to tell you the truth, honestly, it's perfectly logical that this is the route that Tammy Duckworth would go, because this is the route that she's being told will get her the most attention and will help, quote unquote, make her point. Do I think that this is good for the long-term prospects of unity in America and the Democratic Party? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you know, Jesse, they've kind of stepped back from their initial threats. And it's interesting that we're also talking about this on Equality Day for women.
I'm grossly disappointed if that's even a possibility to be, or more disappointed if that's even possible, particularly with Tammy Duckworth, who did serve on active duty in the United States Army. She knows that her soldiers were not of one race, and that trying to promote entirely based upon race in the military would have had a defaultive system put in place. You want the best and the most capable to go into any job. And yes, race can be a consideration, as Condoleezza Rice had often pointed out. It can be a consideration to open a door, but it should not be the one that keeps your door open. It's up to you to earn your own merit and way. And I think every civil rights leader has always proclaimed that. Just give me the opportunity, but let me prove myself. She essentially is saying you don't have to prove anything. Just show us what your race card is as you walk in, or your sexual orientation is. So it's offensive on so many levels. And I think this is a bigger picture of dividing people by race. And any society that has racial division as what they're trying to create does collapse. You can look at historical numbers in the past of where societies have fought each other based upon religion or race, and it does not enable that society to prosper. When they unite as one, they can prosper. So this is just embarrassing and sad on so many levels.
Yeah, it does seem that there's been a lot of conversation along these lines. So, you know, some folks not entirely surprised to see this coming from these senators at this time, Bob.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think the focus has changed. You know how we've gone so far like in the colleges, having the graduation. We've talked about having graduations for minorities, or having housing for minorities. Well, that sounds like segregation. I thought we were trying to have a society that was about acceptance, about everybody is qualified, regardless of what their background is. They just have to prove they have those qualifications. Now it's about excluding people. So instead of accepting people, no matter where they're from, minority, LGBTQ, whatever it might be, now they're saying we're going to exclude these people. We might start with whites right here in this case. That doesn't seem to be the right way to go about it. It should be more of acceptance. Even if they had said, we hope they seriously considered these people. No, they didn't. They said, we're not going to consider anybody unless they are these people.
Yeah, Rob, it seems to me that social media and the internet definitely fuels this from both sides. And you would wonder if something can be done possibly to try to put that in check.
What we can start doing is ignoring the kooks on social media who create things like critical race theory. We can first of all start doing that. But second of all, like I said, the reason that all of this stuff irritates me so much is that, and Jessie made a very, very good point, that we cannot function as a society. We have a lot of stuff that we're dealing with. We are dealing with the border. We are dealing with China. We are dealing with all these different things. And when I think about the existential threat that China presents to the United States right now, I think that they look at us and laugh when we are arguing and quibbing about things like skin color, things like sexual orientation, things like all of this stuff needs to be, put to the side a little bit so that we can figure out what makes us similar as Americans. That's really what we need to be focused on more.
Definitely stronger as a whole. Well, thank you, everyone. That was a great conversation.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.